I'm thinking about getting me some plastic surgery because I got my pawpaw's chin. My pawpaw had a big old chin. It looked like two big chins because it had a dimple right in the middle of it. He had one of them chins that enters the room 3 days before you do. And I got his chin. It's like a family heirloom, hand down from generation to generation. And you know, you're not supposed to laugh at funerals, but when Pawpaw passed away, because I went to his funeral, you know, after he died, which is always a good time to go. I walked in the back of the funeral home and I just started laughing because I looked up at Pawpaw's casket. And, you know, he knew the Lord. I'm not laughing. I'm not being, you know, bad or nothing. Because Pawpaw was old. He was ready to go. He knew Jesus and he was ready to get out of here. He'd already had a couple of strokes and he'd tell me every day I'd go visit him in the nursing home. He'd say, I'm just ready to go home. Well, he finally died. And I went to the funeral home, looked up there, and all you could see was his chin sticking up out of that casket. It's like this. They had to turn him on his side before they could close the lid. Of course, it was a good place to hang the wreath, you know. But this is a song about plastic surgery. I'm thinking about getting it.
My hairline's moving, but I am standing still. A chin like Leno's, nose big as a hill. A face that's perfect is always in my dreams. Hope they can fix mine without too many seams. That's why I'm looking for a surgeon who'll work overtime to find my face in this world. My face in this world. Not a lot to work with. I need his knife to help me find my face in this world. My face in this world. Changes. I once made his kind of chin. All the girls will love my Stephen Curtis Chapman grin. Give me Carmen's eyebrows, but a bit more overgrown. I'll be a vision, a face almost my own. That's why I'm looking for a surgeon who'll work overtime to find my face in this world. My face in this world. Not a lot to work with, but I need his knife to help me find my face in this world. My face in this world. Looking for a surgeon who'll work overtime to find my face in this world. My face in this world. Not a lot to work with. I need his knife to help me find my face in this world. My face in this world. Looking for a surgeon to find my face in this world. My face in this world.
I travel part-time with Bill Gaither, who is a legend in contemporary Christian music. And he's written so many great songs in the church, like The King is Coming, and Because He Lives, and He Touched Me, and so many wonderful songs. And he asked me about, 1988, he called me and asked me if I would like to join the vocal band. I didn't even know Bill Gaither. I don't even know how he got my number, but I was sure glad he did. He called me and asked me if I'd like to join the Gaither vocal band. You know, and I knew Bill Gaither discovered Sandy Patty. Did you know that? Bill Gaither discovered Larnell Harris. Bill Gaither discovered Carmen. Bill Gaither discovered Steve Green. Bill Gaither discovered George Beverly Shea. I mean, the list goes on and on. He asked me if I'd like to join the Gaither vocal band. I said, does Billy Graham have a quiet time? You bet your sweet bippy. And I didn't tell him that I can't read music. I didn't think that was the time to bring that up. And I didn't tell him that I'd never sung baritone before. I didn't want to bring that up either. But I went and auditioned. And he asked me if I'd like to join the group. And come to find out, you know what Bill Gaither does? He discovers your hidden talent. He does. Like when he found Sandy Patty, she was a bass. Bill said, if you hit a few high notes, you might really go somewhere. And when he found Larnell Harris, he was white. When Bill found me, I was hyperactive. Even Bill can't change everybody. What an amazing man he is. He's written all these great songs. And when I first joined the group, I thought he must be perfect. He's written He Touched Me, The King Is Coming, Joy Comes in the Morning. He's got a bus, big old bus. He owns his bus because he wrote He Touched Me. I wrote Big Booger Blues. That won't get you a bus. No, I didn't really write Big Booger Blues, but I would have if I'd have thought of it. But he's got a great bus. In the back of his bus, he's got a bedroom where he and Gloria sleep. While the rest of us are in bunks piled on top of each other, they've got a bedroom because he wrote He Touched Me. And they got two beds back there. Kind of a Ricky and Lucy thing going on, if you ask me. But you didn't hear that from me. And one of those first trips when I started traveling with him, I'd catch myself sometimes just staring at him, thinking, this is the guy who wrote He Touched Me. And one time he said I could sleep back there in the other bed because Gloria wasn't going with us. It was just the Gaither vocal band. It wasn't the trio. It was just the vocal band. He said that I could sleep back there in that other bed. So I was in one bed and he was in the other bed. And that's the way we like it. And I went to bed first. I woke up about 2 in the morning and looked over in Bill's bed and thought he wasn't there because all I saw was a pile of pillows in his bed. Come to find out, Bill Gaither, Mr. He Touched Me, sleeps under pillows. He doesn't sleep under blankets like a normal person. He roots like a dog under a pile of pillows. I knew he was under there because I saw his nose peeking up through those pillows. Actually, it wasn't peeking. It was standing boldly, proudly. And I started staring at his nose thinking, that is Bill Gaither's nose. While I was staring at his nose, I found out he ain't perfect. He snores. Started off sort of like a pig digging for roots. Didn't stop there. It went on to the sound of a freight train hitting a bridge at about 90 miles an hour. Didn't stop there. Went on to the sound of a 747 trying to find a seat at the Crystal Cathedral from 30,000 feet. And I wouldn't even mind that as long as you keep a rhythm going. Yeah, he may have written The King Is Coming, but folks, when the King does come, you better pray Bill isn't asleep. Because we'll never hear Gabriel blowing his horn if Bill's blowing his. I'm getting old, y'all. I'm starting to really enjoy cafeterias. And I have this urge every now and then when I put my britches on to hawk them up to here. My grandfather used to walk around like that. I told him if he'd cut that thing that held his shoes together when he bought them at Kmart, he could take bigger steps. But the thing is, it's not that I'm 34, it's just that I'm still single. And it's not that bad. You know, Jesus was single. I tell people when they say, you know, when are you going to get married? I say, listen, every time you pray, you're praying to a single adult, and don't you forget it. And I thought for sure I'd get married, you know, when I was 33, because, you know, the Lord laid down his life when he was 33. And ooh, the married men are clapping on that one. But you know, there are some good things about being single. You know, you don't have to clean out your refrigerator. I got a piece of celery in there right now. I got longer hair than Crystal Gale. And also, I never have to change my sheets. Who cares? When one disintegrates, I put on another one.
Going on a blind date. Got a call from Stephen. It was just as I'd feared. Said he found my ideal girl if I could overlook her beard. Another night out with a stranger. I just hope she's of the human race. I bought a dozen roses. Figured how could they hurt, and prayed my date would not be Godzilla in a skirt. Then walking up to her front door, I fought the urge to turn and run. Would this girl be my Cinderella, or another Attila the Hun? I got another blind date. I'd better close my eyes. Why do all my blind dates attract so many flies? Searching for my honey, but all I ever get is stung. I think that I'll stay a bachelor. Whoa, whoa. This is the date adventure. Yeah. Don't think that I'm picky. I know I'm not so hot. Getting ready for a date should not include a rabies shot. Why must dating be such a challenge? Why can't it be fun instead? All I want's a girl, not Mr. Ed. Hello. Got another blind date. I got a trail to blaze. Should I take her to dinner or to a field to graze? Searching for my honey, but all I ever get is stung. I think that I'll stay a bachelor. Whoa, whoa. This is the date adventure. For the right girl, I would stick out my neck and let her pick up the check. But I must wait for my mate. Dating's the toughest journey. When you pick a wife, you can't be wrong. So that's why I go on blind dates and bring Alpo along. Yeah. Oh, got another blind date. I'd better get ready to hide. Got another blind date. So pass the blindfold, please. Instead of her number, so just leave me her fleas. Searching for my honey, but all I ever get
this. I got to show y'all something. The best Christmas gift I've ever gotten in my life was a set of horrible, ugly teeth. I did not find these in Bill Gaither's cup. I had them made. My brother owned a dental lab for a while, and he made these for me. And when I put them in, it just changed my whole personality. Let me come down there so you can really get a look. Hey, baby. I waited till I got these before I went to my new dentist. I popped them in. Of course, I went by the Waffle House first, you know. Of course, no one noticed. I made my dental appointment. Busted in that door. And I noticed two little kids were playing in the floor. And there was a mother over there reading to her little kid who was all nervous about seeing the dentist. And then I noticed back in that back corner, there were two teenagers who had braces and acne, and everybody was having a good time until I busted in the door. I walked in and pronounced loudly, "Hey, I'm Mark Lowry. I got a 10:30 appointment." That nurse threw that clipboard at me like body contact might cause tooth decay or something. She said, "You're going to have to fill this out." I said, "I'll be happy to, ma'am." I went over and sat by that lady who was reading to her little kid. And I was filling out the forms. I said, "I don't know why they make me fill these out. I come in here every week." Nurse after nurse after nurse kept coming in and looking at me. I looked up to, "How y'all doing?" Finally, I took them out and said, "This is just a joke. My brother made these for me." She said, "Leave them in for the dentist." They took me ahead of everybody at that dental shop. I popped them in. They put me back in that lounger, you know, with the bib on. I was waiting on dinner. He finally came in. I said, "Doc, I've been flossing. I use rope. Small chain." He said, "Well, we can help you. We can help you." I said, "Doc, I think I may have a cavity or two." He washed his hands and washed them and washed them and washed them and washed. Finally, it looked like he was headed for the linoleum. So I took him out and said, "This is just a joke, doctor." He said, "Oh." He fell back against the wall, put his hand up, and said, "The only thing I could think of is I was going to have to put my hands in that mouth." Everybody ought to get you a set of these, though. Because if you go to Denny's and tell them you found this in the salad bar, they'll give you a free salad. I did a children's pastor's banquet for about 1,000 children's pastors from all over the world not long ago. And they had it's hard to cook for 1,000 people. I've never tried it, but I'm sure it is. They had a steak and a baked potato and a salad, and then they had this moon-shaped, orange-colored vegetable on the plate. I'd never seen a moon-shaped, orange-colored vegetable in my life. And I picked it up and bit into it, and it was just nasty. Like, it crunched, and had no flavor. And I asked them what it was. And they said it was sweet potatoes. I said, "Sweet potatoes aren't supposed to crunch. Sweet potatoes are supposed to come out of the oven on Thanksgiving morning with marshmallows on top of them and nuts down in them and juice all through them. They're not supposed to crunch. Doritos are supposed to crunch." And I was up north, I admit, I was up north, and the lady said, "Well, oh, dear Brother Lowry, we don't overcook our vegetables in the north. We don't want to cook the vitamins out of the vegetables." I said, "For goodness sakes, take a pill and cook the vegetables." You can get all the vitamins you need in a one-a-day. You don't want to be chewing on a one-a-day. Have you ever bit into a vitamin pill? They taste awful because they got vitamins in them. That's why you need to cook those vegetables so the vitamins are gone and they'll taste better. Cook that broccoli till it's yellow, then pour cheese sauce over it. young, make a pretty corpse. That's my philosophy. I want my blood going through my veins. Excuse me, pardon me, coming through, pardon me. Mashed potatoes with a lake of gravy in it. Fried chicken, don't bake that. Leave the skin on that chicken. Don't make that bird die in vain. Fry that chicken. Fry it. And don't put sugar in your cornbread either. That is not of God. Sugar in the cornbread is cake. When you bite into cornbread, it's supposed to suck 90% of the moisture out of your body. Put the sugar in the tea. That's where it goes. Not that pink stuff. It causes cancer. I tell you, I like my tea so sweet, if you run out of syrup, you can pour it over your pancakes. And then whatever you do, don't exercise. I do one sit-up a day. I get up in the morning, that's half. I lay down at night, that's the other half. I figured out a long time ago, my body is for nothing more than carrying my head from place to place.
That makes it sound like I'll eat anything.
I told her my name was Mark Lowry.
Hey, I didn't see you down there, little guy.
I can scarf a dozen donuts and lick the sugar off my hands. If I had 100 tacos, I could eat them on command. If I eat them even faster, you can see my waist expand. But the bloated feeling that I get is the part that I can't stand. In the middle of the kitchen, I can't help but gain a pound. I'll never taste the thrill of victory till I finally chow down. I can offer no defense when that aroma fills the place. When I'm served a tray of burgers, I will gladly stuff my face. I can eat it all, alfalfa, sprouts, and greens. But when it comes to fast food, I eat everything. I can eat it all, whatever I desire. It's fat that I require, 'cause I'm a butterball. I can eat it all. The source of my condition is the fact I don't abstain. I can measure my consumption by the weight that I have gained. Well, my friends call me a glutton, and that causes me such pain. If they serve me one more salad, I think I will go insane. 'Cause I've laid aside the health food for the fatter foods I found. When I get my hands on pizza, I can never put it down. When I hit my favorite restaurants, I eat everything I see. After hours at the buffet, they are begging me to leave. I can eat it all, alfalfa, sprouts, and greens. But when it comes to fast food, I eat everything. I can eat it all, whatever I desire. It's fat that I require, 'cause I'm a butterball. I can eat it all. I have a favorite verse I would like you all to know, and it goes like this: man cannot live by bread alone. That is why I lay my ground beef on a rolling flame of fire. The more I have, the more that I desire. I can eat it all. I can eat it all, whatever I desire. It's fat that I require, 'cause I'm a butterball. I'm wider than I'm tall. I'm pure cholesterol. I can eat it all.
Last spanking I ever got, I got a lot of spankings, and there's a big controversy these days about whether or not kids should or shouldn't be spanked. Well, that controversy is about 20 years too late, because my dad never heard it. And most of my spankings I got when I was growing up was because, I know this is going to be hard for y'all to believe, but it was because of my mouth. I know, I can hear the shock in your voices. My problem was sassing my mother. We'd start off on a disagreement and would go on to an argument, and then it would end up where I was sassing her. And at this point in the discussion, Mama would always tell me what she wanted out of life. Every time, didn't matter, every day, probably 2 or 3 times a day. She'd tell me at this point in our argument what she wanted out of life. Mama didn't care about new houses. Daddy took care of that. We had a nice house. She didn't care about new cars, new clothes. All my mother wanted out of life was the last word. She'd say, "Mark, you had better let me have the last word." And I tried to give her the last word, but something brilliant would always pop in my mind and be out my mouth before I could stop it. Well, the last whipping I got, I was 15. 15! I was skinny back then, y'all. I had acne on my face. I looked like a Clearasil poster child. I had braces on my teeth. That's before they were fashionable. My brother accused me of eating car antennas. And it was on the way to school. It was on a Wednesday morning on the way to school. I asked Mama, I don't remember what it was about. On the way to school, she said, "I'm going to tell your father." And I was thinking, yeah, right. She'll forget. She didn't. I went to school Wednesday afternoon. I always went to driver's ed. I was taking driver's education. And then after driver's ed, I'd always come out to the car and I'd say, "Can I drive to church?" I'd ask my dad if I could drive to church, because we went to church Wednesday nights and Sunday morning and Sunday night. Every time the doors were open, we were there. My daddy was a deacon and my daddy was a dictator. We did not have a vote every 4 years whether or not we're going to go to church. We went to church. If the preacher was going to wash the windows on Thursday night, we filled our pew and we watched him do it. And don't think I didn't try to get out of going to church like any normal kid. Many times I said, "Daddy, I'm too sick to go to church." He'd say, "Throw up and prove it." And if you couldn't throw up, you went to church. And if you did throw up, he'd say, "Now don't you feel better? Let's go to church." And that is a very important part of this story. Because I came out of driver's ed thinking we're going to go to church like we'd done for the past however many years I'd been to that family, 15. I came out to that car and I said, "Daddy, can I drive to church?" He said, "Get in the car." All of a sudden, I remembered what I'd done. I started praying, "Oh, Lord Jesus, come quickly." I got in the car, and Daddy said, "Mark, do you remember sassing your mother this morning?" "Yes, sir." "We're not going to church." I'm gonna take you home and I'm gonna half kill you. Have you ever been half killed? I started thinking, what am I gonna do? If we're skipping church, give me a whipping, it's going to be a doozy. And it was about a 30-minute drive, and I was thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then I thought of it. It dawned on me. A college student had told me, Mark, she said, the next time you get a spanking, bite the blanket. It's called mind over matter. I learned about it in college. Bite the blanket. Concentrate on the blanket. And you won't even feel what your dad's doing down south. Well, I was 15. I thought all college students were brilliant, you know. Now I'm here to tell you, they ain't. This girl was about 3 fries short of a Happy Meal, if you ask me. She said, put all your attention on the blanket. Well, my dad don't whip you anywhere near where you buy the blanket. We got home and Dad did what he always did. He said, now go upstairs and prepare for your spanking. I still don't have any idea what that means. Go upstairs and prepare for your spanking. See, that was started with my older brother, who was born before me. And he would go upstairs and he would prepare. He knew what it meant. Go in your room, cry, think about what you've done, ask God to forgive you, and try to figure out how you'll never do that again. Nobody ever explained that to me. I would always go upstairs and prepare. I'd put on 17 pairs of underwear. And I'd pull my jeans up over that. And my dad would come up to whip his deformed son. This time I thought, nope, college student. She told me, bite the blanket. Bite the blanket, she said. I went upstairs, and for 30 minutes, I crammed this fuzzy University of Houston blanket down my throat. Most of that blanket was in my digestive tract before my dad entered my room. A sprig was hanging out my mouth. I was into that blanket. If I'm going to mind over matter it, I better do it right, man. I crammed that blanket when I was in that blanket. And I heard Daddy coming up the steps. Boom, 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 boom. We got big doors in Texas. Daddy walked over to me and said, Mark, this is going to hurt me worse than it hurts you, son. I went, mm-hmm. I used to think, well, if that's the case, let's trade places. I'm the one who needs the punishment. Let me beat the tar out of you for once. But I never said it. And then I heard the sound that to this day puts goosebumps up and down my spine. Have you ever heard it? Have you ever heard it? It's the sound of a belt flying through belt loops. Pow! You know judgment has come. The worst part of that whipping wasn't the whipping. For the next 3 days, I picked fuzz out of my braces and coughed up 6 fur balls. Any hyperactive people here tonight? I thought I sensed there was someone in the crowd. I was a hyperactive kid. I tell you what, I knew about hyperactivity. I was on Ritalin for most of my childhood. Every night, Mom and Dad used to tuck me into bed after I'd had my whipping. What? You mean you didn't get a whipping every night before you went to bed? Every night they'd tuck me into bed after I'd had my whipping. And my parents believed in spanking. You see, I was watching some TV talk show the other day. They had some pseudo-psychological idiot on there saying, oh, don't ever spank your children. It'll squelch their personality. I'm here to tell y'all, Mama squelched my personality all over the house. Until you've been shook so hard, spit flies out of your mouth, swings around, slaps you on the back of the head, you have not had a happy childhood. It's those same people tell you not to spank your kids that tell you not to cook your vegetables. It's that same crowd. They're all communists. Mom and Daddy tuck me into bed and say, Mark, oh, I heard it every night. Every night they'd say, Mark, one day God's going to use you. I don't know if they always believed it, but they said it every night. One day God's going to use you. But until he does, take this pill. I had a teacher in the 3rd grade, Miss Johnson. I'll never forget her. I was in her class for a whole week. She was so pretty. She had long black hair. She had homegrown fingernails. These were not Lee press-on nails. These were homegrown. And I would come home from school with her fingernail prints in my arms. And my mother went down to that principal and said, I know he's hyperactive. And I know he's a handful, but he's not coming home from school with fingernail prints in his arms from his teacher. I want him moved to another teacher's classroom. So they moved me over to Mrs. Holland's class. Mrs. Holland, she was older than Miss Johnson. She wasn't as pretty as Miss Johnson because Miss Johnson was young and fresh out of college, and Miss Holland had taught for many years. In fact, she's about 10 years older than God when I met her. And she had big, fluffy hands, and when I would get hyper, she would take me on walks around the Hollybrook Elementary School, and she'd have the student teacher take over the class. When I couldn't sit still, instead of fussing at me or grabbing me, she'd say, Mark, let's go for a walk. And she told me God liked hyperactive kids. She told me the same thing my parents had told me, that God had a special place for hyperactive kids. And that it was okay to be hyperactive. I'd never heard anybody say God liked me before. I'd heard people say God loved me. You know, and God has to love you. I mean, he's God. God is love, and that's sort of what he does. But I never heard he liked me. I mean, there is a difference, you know. There are a lot of people I love, I don't like. I go through Thanksgiving and Christmas too. Oh, don't sit there. Some of you sit there like a bunch of pious gas bags. You know exactly who I'm talking about. You know who popped in your head. You know what I'm talking about. You'll cry at their funeral, but you don't want to go on vacation with them. You know exactly who I'm talking about. But God likes us. She told me God likes hyperactive people. God likes There's 2 kinds of people in the world, hyperactive and boring. And God loves you both, and God likes you both. Hyper creative, that's what Mama called me. God likes you. Miss Holland told me that. Miss Holland retired from teaching the 3rd grade several years ago, and her mother, I don't think so, her daughter wrote me and said that her mother, Mrs. Holland, was going to retire from teaching the 3rd grade. And she said, my mother has talked about you to every 3rd grade class she's had since you were in her class. And would you write her a congratulatory letter? And so I sat down and wrote her a letter. She'd written enough novels about me, I'd worn them home from school every day, you know. And I wrote her a letter and I told her, I said, Mrs. Holland, the difference between you and Miss Johnson is Miss Johnson had fingernails that love flesh, but you had hands that love children. And I want to thank you for loving me and telling me that God liked me. Can I help it if I can't sit still? Can I help it if I have a short attention span? I'm not like that all the time. Never took anything and I'm bored. I think I'll flip to a music video.
Never on the honor roll, but I think that I should mention I would have a master's now if they gave it any attention. Shots spit wide still I too blue, and blue paper airplanes too. My chemistry experiment blew
blew up the whole school by accident. Every teacher knows my name. They hear it and go insane. I brought prayer back to class, 'cause all my teachers prayed that I would pass. At the mention of my name, teachers twitch, some start drooling. A diploma was my aim, but I even flunked homeschooling. Put a frog down one girl's back. My mama got notes by the stacks. All of my teachers got combat pay. Every hour, every day. Every teacher knows my name. They hear it and go insane. So many swats that I couldn't keep score. That's what I grew all this padding for. Every teacher knows my name. They hear it and go insane. Yeah, I brought prayer back to class, 'cause all my teachers prayed that I would pass. Yeah, sure, maybe I drove them mad and was the worst student they ever had. But they are getting their just desserts. I talk about them at my concert. Every teacher knows my name. They hear it and go insane. I can't recall all those words that they spoke. Mark, your life's gonna be a joke. Every teacher knows my name. They hear it and go insane. So many swats that I couldn't keep score. That's what I grew all this padding for. Every teacher knows my name. They hear it and go insane. Yeah. How many of you in this room, I'm curious, let's take a poll. How many of you in this room, by show of hands, are in love? You married people better get your hands up. How many of you are not in love tonight, but you have been in love at some point in your life? You married people better get your hands down on that one. How many of you have ever in this room have ever had a broken heart? The rest of you haven't hit puberty yet, I guess, huh? How many of you have ever seen open heart surgery on the Discovery Channel? Do you love that Discovery Channel? How many of you love the Discovery Channel? Admit it. I love it! Man, I love it! When those helpless little deer are being chased by those leopards, man, I think it's cool. And the snakes are eating the chicken eggs, you know? Always eating better than I am. I was watching the other day, y'all, and they had open heart surgery on the Discovery Channel. It was fantastic. They laid this old boy out on the table, and thank God they can do that. If I keep eating Mexican food, I'm gonna eat it. They laid this old boy out on the table. They put a towel over his head. I guess so in case you knew him, you wouldn't get sick. And they cut him right down the middle. They ripped that chest cavity apart. And there it was. Looked like lasagna that was alive. It did. And they took veins, y'all. Did you know you got spare parts? They took veins out of his legs and put them up on his heart. You know, I don't know, but we're gonna find out probably in about 6 months to a year what those veins are for. God doesn't just put veins in you for no reason. That old boy's gonna be walking down the street with a perfectly good heart. That old leg's gonna give out. He's gonna wish he had his veins. I watched them cut, sew, suture, snip, tuck, mend. I watched them work on that heart for about an hour. I tell you, it's a mess if you don't know what you're doing. They worked on that heart for about an hour, and I thought to myself, and to think
someone would tell another human being, I love you with all my heart. You love me with your blood pumping muscle? I tell you, it lost something for me, children. You know why we say I love you with my heart, though? Because in Western civilization, the seat of the emotions is the heart. The seat of the emotions is the heart. I love you with all my heart. You broke my heart. Put your heart into it. The seat of the emotions is the heart, but not so in some countries. I'm serious. Some countries, the seat of the emotions is the kidneys. Some countries, it's the liver. The seat of the emotions. You ask that missionary next time he brings that 12-hour slideshow to your church. You ask him, where is the seat of the emotions in the country he comes from? Somewhere it's the kidneys. Somewhere it's the liver. Somewhere tonight, a guy is telling his girl in some other language, I love you with both my kidneys. Or he might be saying, hey, baby, you make my liver quiver. It's not the same as the heart. It's not the same. Hey, but did you know what the seat of the emotions was in the Old Testament? Anybody know? You got it. The bowels. Look it up. The seat of the emotions in the Old Testament was the bowels. Boy, that'd ruin a lot of good love songs, wouldn't it? Don't tell my bowels, my achy breaky bowels. I left my bowels in San Francisco. What'd they do for love songs? But the heart works. I mean, think about it, ladies. If you were in the Old Testament, can you hear your husband? He puts you in his arms. He goes, oh, baby. Oh, baby. Baby, you move me, baby. Not the same as the heart, is it? But we have our Christian cliche. It goes like this. Would you like to invite Jesus into your heart? Yeah, you've heard it. Let me tell you something. Jesus is just about as interested in getting in your heart as he is your kidneys. He don't want to get into your left ventricle and watch blood go by. But when you invite him into your heart, listen to me, if you ever do, get ready. At times you may have a broken heart. A lot of people say, come to Jesus, and you get saved and everything's fine from then on. Let me tell you, Christ said, I've come to give you life. But not just life more abundant. First of all, you got to know what life is, y'all. You know what life is? Whether you're a believer or you're not a believer, life is life. Life is a series of emotions. Life is a mountain after a valley, a wife to feed, a husband to clothe, children to raise, a boss to put up with, car notes, taxes, April 15th. Life is life. Christ said, I've come to give you life more abundant. If I could put the Christian life into one word, you know what it would be? It wouldn't be joyous. It wouldn't be victorious. It wouldn't be sad. It wouldn't be depressing, even though it has been all those things at some point in time. If I could put it into one word, if I could put my entire Christian experience into one word, it would be this. The Christian life is interesting. You want a boring life? Don't come to Christ. You want an interesting life? Come to Christ. But I've got a great scripture for you. If your heart ever gets broken, this is my favorite scripture. It's my life verse. I love this verse. It says this. And it came to pass. I love that verse, don't you? And it came to pass. It didn't come to stay. It came to pass. No matter where you are on that experience, it'll pass. Hey, you young 18-year-old jocks that got muscles in your earlobes, enjoy them. They will pass. You older crowd, 35 and up. You got gray hair now. Some of you got blue hair. You know who you are. Some of you got no hair. Some of you went out and bought you some hair, didn't you? I saw a guy on TV, some TV preacher. He had the nastiest looking wig I've ever seen in my life. I think the thing was made out of cat hair. Every time he scratched his head, his rear went up. But enjoy it. It will pass. Hey, you may have arthritis living in your joints. Hey, enjoy it. It'll pass. Either it will pass or you will pass. It came to pass. No matter where you are in your life, it'll pass. Did you have a bad year last year? Hold on. It'll pass. Did you have a good year last year? Hold on. It'll pass. I remember our shouting Baptist church back home in Texas, man. They had those kind of seats. Didn't have pews. Had individual seats. And it was a fan-shaped church, which I think is kind of cool because everybody's closer to the preacher. On those long, skinny churches, you can be way on back, way on back. Our church had those individual seats with those armrests like what you got. Of course, that meant if you're too fat, you couldn't come to our church. Or else you'd be carrying it home with you when you left. And that seat would pop you in the rear when you stood up, so you had to be quick. So if you were skinny and quick, you were welcome at our church. Fan-shaped church, it was great. Mama played the piano Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. Every time the doors were open, the Lowry family was in church. Now, our piano wasn't off in another room or over at the side. Our piano was right slap dab behind the pulpit, and Mama loved to play that piano and look at people. She'd be playing, oh, victory in Jesus, my Savior forever. I'd be up in the back row of the balcony. I'd ask her, I'd say, Mama, can I go sit up on the shelf? She'd say, yeah, go on. Sometimes she'd let me. I was a little kid. I'd grab all my friends. I'd get up in the shelf. I'd be learning stand-up comedy while Mama was playing the piano. And you know, when you do concerts, they always dim the lights and then they put a spotlight in your face. You feel like you're singing to a train. Everybody could be real quiet and get up and leave. You'd never know it. Well, if they'd have had spotlights in our church, I'd have got a lot less whippings because Mama could sing. I'd be up there cutting up, hoping she wouldn't find me. Oh, victory in Jesus, my Savior forever. And then she'd spot me in the balcony. And I'm telling you what, all she had to do was clear her throat, and I could hear it. Above the singing, I could hear it. I don't know why she got so upset, just because I tied my suspenders together and was using them as a bungee cord. But she'd clear that throat, and above the singing, I'd hear it. I'd look down. She'd say, I'm going to kill you. And if Mama didn't find me, Daddy would. My daddy was a deacon, and his arm could wrap around our church 4 times and never leave his shoulder. Find the back of my head, pow! If I was real bad, you know where he took me? To the old sanctuary. And every church ought to have an old sanctuary. Our old sanctuary was haunted. It had shadows of dead choir members on the walls. He'd pop me on the back of the head. I'd look up. He'd say, "Come with me." Where are we going? The old sanctuary. What for? Choir practice.
Sandy, you've sang with everyone, from Larnell to Wayne Watson.
Yes, all my partners have been great. Not one of them was second rate. Oh,
Why don't you sing this time with me? I promise that I'll stay on key.
sorry, but I can't help you out. Got my career to think about. Oh, oh.
So we'll sing then at some other time, some other place,
Where all my friends won't see and no one knows me, and I'll hide my face.
though the dogs are howling, coyotes growling.
Whenever your solo comes,
I know happy I will be if you just sing with me.
some other time and some other place.
I promise I won't clown around. I'll always smile and never frown.
You'll scare my audience to death and probably melt the mic with your breath. Oh,
The two of us could go so far.
why can't we leave things how they are?
All of our concerts would sell out.
To all your relatives, no doubt. Oh, oh.
So we'll sing then at some other time and some other place,
Where all my friends won't see and no one knows me, and I'll hide my face.
will be a hit, I'm certain.
My ears will be hurting.
Sandy, I can't hardly wait for that sweet, sweet someday.
Lord, make him go away to some other time and some other place.
So we'll sing then at some other time and some other place,
Where
Let's sing together. No, not some other time. Right now. We could be the next BB and Cece, the next Regis and Kathy Lee. Oh, who knows where this could lead? Come on, Sandy. Would you hush and talk to me? Quit. Sandy. Hey, Sandy. Sandy. Oh, please sing with me. I was flying not too long ago in this packed flight. I mean, it's packed. I'm tired of flying. I wish they could fax me over. God, I mean, now they have those cheap fares on those flights that they just run. Everybody's flying. Used to, you'd have several seats open around you so you could relax, loosen your belt and explode. But now everybody's on these flights, and I was flying on this long 4-hour flight, and I was praying I'd have an empty seat next to me, flying across the country. And they had this old gentleman on the aisle, and then they came and got him and took him up to first class, and I thought, oh, that's great. I'm going to have both of these seats to myself. And I'll get to raise those armrests, get the pillows and the blankets and lay down, and enjoy myself. Because every other seat was taken. But I was not so fortunate. I looked up the aisle, and I saw her coming. A 29-year-old mother and her 6-month child coming down the aisle to sit next to me. And she was one of these friendly types that kind of just talks nonstop, just the mother just circular breathes. She sat on the aisle and she stuck that 6-month-old child next to me. And I don't have anything wrong. I'm not, have anything against children. I'm single. I'm not married. I don't have children. And if you're going to stay single, not get married, and you want to be in the ministry, you better not be having children. And I'm not used to kids. I don't know that I like my nephews and my niece, but I don't want every other kid around me, because I don't know what to do with them. This kid sat next to me and sucked on anything she could get in her mouth. The seatbelt, I looked over and the seatbelt was just gone. She's sucking on the seatbelt, and she got bored with that, and then she saw my arm and thought it looked edible. She started sucking on my arm, and the mother thought it was cute. I felt like a salt block sitting there. The hairs on my arm looked like they'd been moosed before we got off the ground. I didn't think she was sucking that hard till I noticed 2 of my tattoos were missing. And then the mother says to me, we're talking. She likes to talk, so I just put my book down. I figured I'm going to have to talk. She said, well, what do you do for a living? She asked me. I'll never forget. I hate that question because I have no idea what I do for a living. All I know is what I used to get whipped for doing in church, I get paid to do now. That's all I know. And I told her, I said, well, I'm a Christian. I tell stories about my life from a Christian perspective. I write Christian songs. I sing in a Christian quartet, gospel quartet. And I just travel around doing my little thing. And she kept talking and talking and talking. She thought, oh, well, that was nice. Everything I did was nice. That's nice. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. And then about halfway through that flight, y'all, she looked at me and she said, do you mind if I change her diaper right here? It's only a wet one. I felt like saying, do you mind if I throw up right here? It's only a wet one. And what could I tell her? She said, do you mind if I change? What could I tell her? I'd already told her I was a Christian. She raised that Pampers box up. And I said, looky there. You don't have to change your diaper. It says right there on the box, up to 26 pounds. We can weigh her and keep flying. Oh, but no, she wouldn't have it. She opened that diaper and surprise, surprise, surprise. It weren't no just wet one. The oxygen mask fell out of the ceiling. I thought they were going to have to raise that wall back up in Germany. Looked like that kid had ate a whole bottle of Dijon mustard or something. And the guy behind me leaned over and said, excuse me, but do you have any Grey Poupon?